I'm feeling absolutely ghastly from coming dressed like this.
Why? I'm sure I ought to be dressed too. Of course, you must admit, my dear, this is a most mysterious and weird meal.
Why mysterious and weird?
Oh, I don't know. Just mysterious. And weird.
Hello.
Hello, Raglan, old man. Come right in. You know Granillo, don't you?
My name is Lizzie, and I play the character of Wyn Brandon, who's also known as Brandon in the play. Brandon thinks she is better than everyone else, and she's decided to prove that by committing the perfect crime, the perfect murder. And she's invited the other characters around for a dinner party while the body is still in the room. Brandon has committed the murder with the help of her best friend, Granillo. And Brandon is very concerned throughout the play that Granillo is going to give the game away.
Right, so I'm going to start blocking bit by bit from now on. Like, hopefully the first bit's going to be pretty kind of easy going. What's going to be the problem is essentially this is where everyone's kind of around the chest, and it's kind of like figuring out how you all kind of operate within that space. And so I think I've got a general idea of how to do it. Still going to be using the same core rules, which essentially is that Grano and Brandon, generally speaking, are going to be trying to keep on opposite sides of each other. There is going to be a point where we kind of break that rule just a tiny bit, and when that rule gets broken, it's when Cadell's being more aggressive. So where there's the hints that essentially you three are a group against those four, is when you two can kind of break that rule just a tiny bit, because kind of Cadell sort of pseudo becomes part of the pack there, which is just a way for me to essentially try and manoeuvre you all around the tiny bit so it doesn't end up you falling over each other's feet.
My name is Brian Diamond, and I'm playing Rupert Cadell. Rupert is 29 years old, and I think key to him is the fact that he was in World War I, and I believe that prior to that he was quite idealistic and quite a romantic, and that's why he's become a poet after World War I, but he was broken, and that's embittered him and allowed him only to see all that is wrong in society, and because of that jadedness, he looks for what's wrong in other people.
You write poems, don't you?
I am told so, sir. But so does the other Cadell, a devastating creature who spells it with 2 D. And he has known Brandon since she was a little girl. He's been a mentor to her, and he's taught her and Granillo in school. And he believes that he is much, much, much smarter than everyone there, and he believes he can see Brandon for what she is. And so he comes into this with this idea of, you can't trick me.
And also the general rule is going to be that Brandon has set out that there's not enough chairs for everybody. So Cadell really does need to be sat down because he's got like a lame leg. And you guys are going to kind of be quite ignorant of him because this is 1920s, he's disabled, he's only 29 years old, but that essentially walking stick kind of makes him very much an old man, and he's kind of a bit of a freak because of that. And as much as you kind of will engage with him a tiny bit, it's also, you don't like the idea of him just because of that disability. So when you guys are stood, he's going to be sat generally. When you guys are sat, he's going to be stood, just to kind of like create that kind of little imbalance between how the characters are.
Hi, my name's Lee Dawson. I'm going to be playing Charles Granillo, and he is the second murderer. He's the partner in crime of Brandon. The newcomer, Layla, is the revered Sir Johnston Kentley, who has come here to look at books.
My dear.
Unless it's Rupert. Which it might be, of course. He's trying to hold his nerve whilst everyone is surrounding him, whilst Cadell is sniffing around. And he's almost Brandon's weakness, because she's cool, calm and collected, and he's really just trying to hold it all together and gradually getting more drunk and more panicked throughout the play.
Yeah, so the doors are a bit diagonal, so...
Do you want the king to be visible first and then I come in?
Yeah, if we can manufacture that, that'd be fantastic.
Are we all staying seated for his arrival, or do we get up as it's a new person?
I would say kind of you would think to stand up, but because he does that strike, it kind of throws everyone's equilibrium off a tiny bit.
Here he is, at last as usual. Come along in, Rupert. Mr. Cadell? Mrs. Debenham.
With your cane and get like a plate, and also then try and eat whilst you're stood, because you sort of stood up, gone there. Johnson sort of sat down, so you can't stand and you can't sit anymore, and you kind of just more like you're struggling.
Like
and
I
you're
try to place the plate on my hand and then it falls.
Yeah, you essentially just kind of playing up the invalid a tiny bit here.
Yeah.
While he's faffing, shall I get a bit closer, like, oh, look at this?
Yeah.
I'm Jacob. I'm playing Kenneth Raglan. And to sum Kenneth up, he is a vacuous upper-class idiot who kind of represents everything that Brandon and Cadell resent in current society.
Yes, isn't it? I say, I'm terribly sorry. I've come dressed.
He also kind of serves as a bit of a comic relief character. He's trying to prove himself to everyone, but at the same time, he follows Layla Arden around like a lost puppy.
Because it's a very nice chest. And because all the tables are covered in books.
Yes, no, yes.
Yes, I decided to say no. In this room, we try and get the best we possibly can. Out there, it's essentially kind of like an amateur thing. We're aware of our limitations. In here, there's no such thing as limitations, okay? Because I feel like you're all people who really want to kind of like push this, and I'm more than happy to essentially kind of run with that ball, because this is so exciting already. Kind of like, we've done 4 rehearsals, and it already feels like it's clicking together. So yeah, let's just try and really kind of, like make this our kind of like little dream project, because I think it's going to be fantastic.